What's going on, everyone? How's it going, Discord community? Welcome back to episode 15 of Behind the Bench. I'm your host, Neil, Irish Flyers collector here on Discord and Instagram. And as you can see, I'm joined today by two special guests who, if you're here on Discord, technically they don't need any introduction whatsoever. We have none other than Josh and BabaLewi, Fla Fla Flui, Fla Fla Pli from the Gong Show. How's it going, guys? Welcome to the Behind the Bench studio.
First time caller, long time listener. It's an honor. Scared.
I made it.
It's
I made it to behind the bench.
Yeah.
You made it behind the bench.
Sorry.
There you go. So I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day and schedules to join me. I figured this was we've never done one. I've never had a Gong Show member from the parent company on the show, because I was always kind of steering our this platform to Discord and our membership. But this was a topic that I wanted to kind of have a dialogue about, back and forth with some people, and kind of help give the best opportunity for everyone that views to kind of cover the topic. So
I'm glad you kept it American.
Get ready to be disappointed, Neil.
Get ready to be disappointed. So today's topic, the episode, was a suggestion or a question from our Discord community. A couple weeks ago, fellow Discorder True Rarities, who is a very active member, but he shared the following comment. So this is probably broad, but I'm always interested in the way other people collect, like the interesting different PCs and sub PCs people have, set builders, etc. I don't really know how or where I'm going with that, but yeah, great show so far, by the way. Well, first of all, thank you for that, True Rarities. I really appreciate the kind words. Now, with regards to your statement, I did feel that I kind of felt like you were onto something, and I feel like I know where you were going with it in that direction. So I wanted to kind of take a crack at the topic and look into that for you. But like I said, wanted to do this through a group discussion. Again, why Josh and Louie, I've asked them to join me, the illustrious captains of the Gong Show. So I guess, guys, we're going to just kind of start talking about in general, like, what are some of the, different ways that we see people collect, or what are different ways that you collect?
Well, as I think about this topic, Neil, Louie, when I reflect on how my time in the hobby has progressed, the biggest thing that stands out to me is when you hit the point. I think, Louis, you hit this point too, where I stopped collecting what everyone else, what the kind of the cool Instagram pages were showing, and I looked at all my cards and went through some sort of self-reflection and was like, what cards do I like the most that I have? And what cards, if I'm being honest, did I buy because that's what everyone else buys? Or because I think focusing really helps. I think the new person experience is you just kind of, and it's probably the way to go about it. You just buy whatever, you're sampling, right? You buy some of these cards, some of those cards. And then you hit this point where it's like, well, what am I doing? Does this mean anything? Is it leading anywhere? And like, that's like personally for me, where I kind of realized that I don't love patch autos. I don't even love autos. So, but I really like all these kind of crazy inserts that are artistic, have a lot of maybe different crazy technology into the cards. And there is kind of it's not like there is a point where you just have to say, well, maybe I need to blaze the path in the hobby that is for me, and maybe not what everyone else is doing. And then in the past like year and a half, like I really like my cards like so much better now, and I haven't bought any patch autos, right? And it's not that I don't appreciate other cards, like a sick Wayne Gretzky game used limited logos or something like that is amazing. And part of me would love to have that card, but if I'm being real honest, I would rather have his 2012 Fleer Retro Essential Credentials card.
Yeah, or the atomic refractor from Bowman's Best.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. That just speaks to me. And I guess I'll finish this by saying, there's too many people, and this is like I feel like Phil now, like where I'm like screaming at the world, right? Where,
Couldn't go 5 minutes without his name coming up.
how do you not, why are we always so concerned with what other people collect? Just be you, just do you. It's a very personal thing to collect. Now we get to share our love for the hobby with a bunch of people, and that we've talked a million times about how that makes it amazing. But my cards are my cards. My collection is, and I don't think you should give a shit whether people like your cards or not. Right? It's not a contest. That's the other. Yeah, I have a very competitive son, and I have to remind him like daily about how like not everything in life is a contest. You're not trying to outdo anybody, right? You're just trying to enjoy something and build, curate something and be thoughtful about cards that you add to your collection.
I think you're spot on. Like a lot of that stuff relates to some of the topics that I meant with like collect for yourself, And I feel you kind of hit a point there too, which when it was Louis with your first expo, it was my second one only, but I remember like watching that like moment or that metamorphosis that kind of happened for you, like what Josh was just saying, like you had a bunch of cards, which we all have done, and then you just kind of like, I want to get rid of some of these and get things that I truly love.
Mm-hmm. I had a bunch of cards for 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I cut you off, but keep going.
No, that was it. And I was just saying, is that accurate? Do you remember? Was I correct in my observation of what I watched? Felt like I watched you go through at that expo.
That I think that was the nail for me to tell me it was time to move a bunch of stuff, because I'd already been feeling it before I got there. It was, collect this, see what happens,
Well, I think we were real similar, Louis, you and I, in that it's like the new flagship would come out and it's like, oh, so-and-so's Young Guns. I got to have the Hot Rookies Young Guns. And then you're like, well, why? Do I even care about this play? It's not really.
I got sick of, so I'll jump into like, that's a perfect example because that was the easiest, just to run out, grab, rip, because I still like the inserts. And we can talk about that obviously later, but I still like inserts. But it was trying to get the Young Guns. And what do you do with the Young Guns if they're not like the top tier players? You put them in a sleeve, top load them, and you put them in a box and wait to see what happens. Dumb. For me, anyways.
Well, you're going to lose that game 19 times out of 20. That's not if the hobby was so easy that you could just, every time a new flagship series comes out and there's 50 new Young Guns and you buy the top 4 rookies and 3 of them you make thousands of dollars on, well, we all would do that. Right.
Yeah,
but that's not how it works. No.
I mean, I've done it all. I've done that. I've done the ripping. I've done the sleeving, saving. I've gone out and bought, like Trevor Zegras went out and bought that cheap. Well, then I got really cheap, so I've been through all of it. And at the expo, it was, you know what? There's so much here of the specific players I want that I'm just going to focus on what I want to collect, because there's going to be a great chance that I'm going to find more than enough of it here.
Yeah.
And not just see what I get. One thing to collect what you like, but using your money the right way, and not hoping you get what you want. I'm kind of done with that. I mean, I like opening boxes, for entertainment, fun to do with the boys and stuff, but I'd rather put it into something that I want than
Oh, it's like the worst investment, quote unquote, ever. I actually think a really good way, and how I try to look at my cards now, is when you look at a card, and if you say to yourself, let's say you spent $300 on a really nice card, and you look at it and you said, if this went to zero, would I still enjoy this card?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really happy because I think over the last year, a bunch of my cards, I would say that about.
Mm-hmm.
Where when I was buying, like Louis said, the Trevor Zegras Young Guns PSA 10, and if I would have asked myself the same question, I would have been pissed. I'd be like, because I don't care about Trevor Zegras. I'm not that you shouldn't. It's just not a player that now of course he's your baby, Neil. Now that he's a Philadelphia Flyer, but
yeah,
it's I think like when you get to that point, I think it reaffirms that you're doing this for the right reasons.
Right.
And B, it takes all the stress of the ebbs and flows of the hobby market away because you just don't care anymore, right?
Yeah.
I think collecting is more fun if you have a if you I don't want to say end game because that's like you're done, but it's more fun collecting if you're trying to do something specific. Whether it's one guy and get all his cards, or specific cards of one guy, or multiple cards of certain players on a team, or a set, like an insert set or something. That's what helps me stay on track.
Well, the hobby is such a Swiss Army knife in that way. Like you can, and that's what kind of makes it amazing. There's an infinite amount of ways to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And so like, I know Neil, like when you were putting together notes to like, you put, all the different ways we talked about, but the reality is, you could collect guys with the middle name David.
Yep.
If that's what excites you, right. Go ahead. Right. Or guys with blue eyes or what,
And you can pick, you don't have to, you're not going to fall into, that's the other amazing thing. You're not going to fall into just one. I mean, you might, but if that's your thing, but you can pick and choose, and you can, that was the other empowering thing that I found for myself was, again, not doing what everybody else was doing what I wanted to. I'm a huge believer. That is if I were to say one thing, and it was like that statement about if the card's value went to zero, would I be upset? No, I'd still love every single one of my cards. That's the avenue that I think about. Like when people can do certain things, you can be a set builder and you can have some of those funny mustache side PCs and, or also like just specific inserts. So that's the great thing about it, is having that opportunity to pick and choose what you like to do. And you can collect a lot of different, styles and ways.
Well, and I think that, sorry, Lou, I just want to say that to me, it goes beyond just the type of card you like or the player that you like. Like one of the decisions that I made too is, listen, we're starting a content company around hockey cards. So I'm not going to lie and say like that money is rolling in, but even in more flush times in my life, one of the decisions I made around collecting is, even if I really loved a card and I spent $5,000 on that card and the value went to 1,000, the responsible adult in me would be pissed. And so part of how I collect too is but I also want to have nice cards too. Like I want to have, and so I like cards in like the $100 to $500 range, because then I still feel like, well, I can get something kind of rare or cool or that I like. But if I buy $100 card and it goes down to $20, okay, that allow, because I won't lie and say that again, that the money doesn't factor in to it where it would if I was taking bigger gambles, right? And so that to me, it was not just the type of card I like, but sort of the financial sweet spot that I can be stress free. And believe me, there's a lot of $10,000 cards I'd love to have. I just don't want the stress of buying it.
Yeah, what's that? The appetite for, I forget what I'm looking. I just had the word, but I lost it. But just like your sustainability your appetite for just risk, basically. I'm similar. Like I'm the same way. Like I don't want to have a ton of risk, and I'd be nervous and panicked. And now that some people operate high-end cards. That's great. That's them. And once you get to that certain point, I think you can keep rolling over and over and over and over. But yeah,
but there also is no right way. Like some people love the financial chase.
Yeah.
Right. You know, some people, the thrill of the hobby is buying the $10,000 card, right? That's the rush to them. And if you have the means and that's your desire, then more power to you. It doesn't make, you know, I think that's another thing to be that personally I'm trying to be more and more careful with, is that there's no right or wrong way to do this. There's no, you know, potato, right? One man or another. But all I can do is share what works for me and then get ideas from other people to, you know, maybe to reflect on those and see if I want to adjust my approach at all.
I'm happy with, let's see, ever since I completely got rid of everything, I probably have, let's just say 200 cards I really care about. You know, that they're the ones that I don't care go down or anything. Out of all those cards, not one is over $500. And so, and they don't have to be for me. One, like Josh said, 1 to 5, and somewhere in there, that's kind of my wheelhouse anyways. And I'm not bummed at all about it. I love every card I got.
I showed this is like my personal pickup on our last show.
Oh yeah.
I spent like $30 on it. Pretty rare. Player I really like, a card that I think is amazing looking, right? I mean, again, this is a card that if this card is $10,000 based on just looking at it, I would buy that, right? Not, well, that's a bad analogy because but I would accept that, right? I'd be like, oh yeah, sure, that makes sense to me. But it's like I don't have to worry about this card could literally be worth nothing. And you know, I just spent $35, so I get to look at it. That's the way I you know, and I get to enjoy it and appreciate the photo and the design of the card and the artistic whatever behind that, and that makes the hobby stress-free for me.
Yeah.
I think how you want it to be. You have to keep it that way. You said
it's for fun.
Yeah, it's for fun. That Josh, you were talking about what you tell Sam, and you know, it's the old adage of keeping up with the Joneses. If you do that, this isn't going to be fun. If that's how you feel, you need to
not for long
like the hobby. No,
right.
You need to really find what you want, what excites you, I would say. And I mean, it took me a long time to figure it out because I had cards of everybody, but I offloaded 30 cards at the expo and offloaded 25,000 more when we got back and revamped it all.
that was fun too, because I remember you were like, man, we've seen someone. I think that's why I think the expo is so empowering, and it is as overloading it can be, you know, just going there. It's nice to see. I think it can give a sense of focus when you finally see a lot of things all at once, and you can kind of have that, maybe that self epiphany, or that, you know, come to Jesus meetings, whatever you want to call it, like where you're like, you know what, why am I doing that with some of these other players? Because I was the same way. I was trying to get a bunch of players, and I was like, oh, everybody wants this guy, wants that guy, wants that guy. And when I got back into it again, I kind of wasn't that way. I fell back into my final habit, which was you know, at my core, I'm a player collector of a few specific guys. And every now and again, like when it comes to, I enjoy the ripping, but I don't buy many boxes at all. I mean, maybe half a dozen a year total, like, but that's just for the fun part of it.
Yeah.
And any of the cards that I get in there, like, I've got a little miniature, you know, binders of good players, base cards, because I did that as a kid, right? You know, I was buying boxes all the time, and I had a binder. It was like the Ray Borks and the Yari Currys and the Mark Messiers, and then you put some other players in there. I had a goalie binder.
Do you want more of those? I got a bunch. You can have them.
I'll take whatever. Bring them to Expo. But but they're nothing great, and they're just base cards, and I was always going through them as a kid. Now I do that with my team, my Flyers, and I do that with these players. But I think that when it comes to what I know that I focus on, and you guys, everybody knows what I focus on, and there's very, very rarely do I sway out of my lane and do something on the side, but I can if it excites me. Like I can, if I was really excited about Celebrini, I'd go get his Young Guns if I wanted to, and it doesn't mean it doesn't fit my PC.
Well, he can be a great player, and he can have
Yeah.
an amazing hobby market, and he's just
Right.
not a guy that you collect. And what you find too, the more you get to know people that have been doing this for a long time, everyone kind of, I feel like, gets to a similar point where you just, it's more like the evolution you go through in collecting. Like one of the things that I've really continuing to learn about myself is I think I really appreciate when people have like curated things. Like the first example I think was Louis, and when he did the Stature Modano Auto Rainbow.
Yeah.
It was in of themselves, all those cards were super cool, but when they were together and in the frame, like to me that was like, oh wow, like that feels like I could see like whatever is satisfying about, like the sum is greater than the parts almost from my perspective. And that's like where I've been kind of like trying to go myself. Like I just completed a set of anything before. And I just have always bought more random stuff that I tend to like, where now I did the holotypes, all 30 of them from last year's series 1. And with the whole Patrick Waugh thing, it's like I mentioned this on the show too. I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll try to collect this set, right? Because I think it would be cool for me. I don't know. No one else might think it's cool to see them all together.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And one of the things we try to accomplish with our show is, I think too in this hobby, what makes it amazing is there's infinite amount of possibilities for you to be you. And it's so deep and intricate that we do this like basically all the time, and we're learning new stuff every day. Right. And so there's a benefit to, and like I said, with our show, we try to expose people to new stuff all the time. And I feel like the more I learn, the more I can focus, like my laser gets tighter on what it is I actually like.
Yeah. That's sorry, I was thinking about your holotype set, and because you still completed the set, but it still falls, even within your model that you like, inserts, but you still, so you completed an insert set, versus like a whole set. I don't know many set builders. I know one. I have a friend of mine in my neighborhood. He's actually coming to his first expo with me in the fall.
Nice.
He's a set builder, and every flag, and it's just flagship. I think that if you're going back and think about people who do some of those types of things, that kind of evolved. I think maybe that's more of us older collectors, the ones that are my age or 50 or older, because that's what you could do really easily
when you were a kid. Yeah. And that's
in
what
80s
everybody could do.
right?
I think the crossroads that those people are at right now is like, you look at like flagship, right? Like technically the base set includes all the parallels.
Yep.
Especially the Young Guns and the 101s. And so like the term they use is like a master set collector. So yeah, if you were collecting 1971 O-Pee-Chee, you could put together the master set, and the toughest cards would be like the Guy Lafleur and the Ken Dryden rookies and all that sort of stuff. Now it's really impossible to do.
I wouldn't want to be it.
Well, you would need every gold outburst 101. So you would need 200 in the base set and 50 Young Guns to truly, and then you'd have to have all the outburst parallels and the exclusives and high gloss and deluxe and all that stuff.
And I think that the set builder mentality, so they probably, either go and buy boxes, maybe they buy a case, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, not too long ago, if you were to strip away all the parallels, if you were to strip that away, and that's the other great thing about the hobby, you can make it whatever the heck you want to be, right? You can be a set builder, but I don't worry about all the parallels. We all have our own caveats to our collection, like we swerve here and there, but I think that if I'm not mistaken, you can buy a case, and isn't the mentality, hasn't it been like you should be able to complete a base full set, excluding parallels, when you buy the case?
Yeah, I mean that's the idea. Like you get all 50 base Young Guns
Yeah.
within a case of flagship, but
Yeah.
and I think like that, going back to whether it's an insert set or a base set or any other sort of, it's the satisfaction in completing something,
Mhm.
right? That's what drives those people. Now, why I've never really had the desire to collect a base set is, and Louis, you do more of it. It's like, to me, it's like, well, what do you do with it when it's done? You kind of shove it in a box, and it's a little bit hard to enjoy. But I do see how people, it is pretty cool when you've have the the completed set of it as well. And so
here's my answer to that. You're right. You put it in a box and it goes away. Mine are, or they're in a book, right? And they're away. I'm not doing it for now. I'm doing it for 40 years from now to go back and look at them and see who was playing
cool.
then. That's why
Well, and you must be doing it for the feeling you get when it's done, right? It feels like an accomplishment and some like a task completed.
Yeah, and
Right,
it's part of the chase too. Like that moment of the now part of it is the I'm working on it, I'm chasing it. Like when Louis, when you were going after the Madonna statues, there was a goal in mind. Like I'm doing it with trying to complete a nameplate. I'm trying to complete. I'm 3 letters away, but I'm trying to complete a nameplate, and it's that chase that gets you, get your mouth salivating a little bit for it too.
Well,
So
if it
I
takes
imagine
4 years, at the end of when it's finally done, right? You get that level of satisfaction where
yeah,
you're
then you put
like,
them in the frame and you hang them up.
So, okay, the Madonna thing's come up 3 or 4 times now. So I want to say something about that. Funny thing about that whole rainbow, if you will, I didn't do it on purpose. Not at all. I started out with, where is it? They're all right here. Not numbered, just auto.
Right.
Just regular, bought it, wanted it, cool, right? And, a month or 2 later, well, I want the red or the green, whatever. So I bought this one. Then I got the red. At that point, I was like, all right, I have a project. But what's cool about it is sometimes you don't know exactly what you're going to collect. I didn't know I was going to do that. Sometimes it just happens, which is super cool. Also, I was like, oh, what the heck? I got 3 of them. Might as well get the next 2.
Knowing what I know, though, you're a guy that thrives on projects, right? So that makes all the sense in the world to me. That, and I think the other thing that's funny to me about you, Louis, is, well, not funny, but just interesting, is you've I think in a very positive way, have kind of tried to collect every which way possible. Like you have your Kirby Puckett collection, where for a long, and maybe Neil, you can relate to this, but you had 900 Kirby Puckett cards, and then you hit a point where it's like, what's my goal here? Am I trying to have every Kirby Puckett card? Because the last 50 cards I bought, I don't really like, and I just bought them because his name and picture are on them, and but maybe that is a goal that somebody that they want to have as many so-and-so player cards as humanly possible. So that is a goal for you, Neil. Like that's where you get, even if you don't like the card per se, it gives you satisfaction knowing that it's a card I don't have.
Yeah, it's because it's with the you can only do it with certain players. I look at it. I mean, maybe if you have unlimited funds, you can do it with certain other big name players. For me, it's a smaller version. That's why I have my collection of Coots. He's affordable. I just got a jersey patch card last night for $3.95, and it was out of 10.
So I got a question to ask you about that.
But okay,
what's it like collecting somebody when you don't have any competition?
There is some. If you go look at the bid history of all the ones,
what's it like to collect a player nobody else likes?
Yeah, thanks, Louis. Well, sorry, Louis. Appreciate you stopping in today.
What does it feel like to be his only fan? No, not OnlyFans. His only
fans. Not his only fans. No, but it's just that I beat out some people. And here's the thing: I know there's a person that I go to head with on these cards. I mean, there was one that about a month or two ago. I had my mega bid in, and oops, it bit me in the butt. But I was like, all right, so be it. So it was a card out of 15. But then there's other ones that aren't. So, but I forget where I was going with that. But
I could chime in. Like where I get jealous.
Lady.
Sure, I get jealous of you guys a little bit because you both collect really good players, of course, but they're not players that like are at the top of the hobby market. Where my sensibility is more the Mario Lemieux and Wayne Gretzky's and Ovechkins and kind of like the 8 goats I like to collect. And a huge benefit of loving like Nico Hischier or loving Sean Couturier is you get to get really awesome cards for not a lot of money, right? Where, an Ovechkin gold outburst is unattainable for me. You guys can very much get for your players one of those cards.
I got both Couturier's gold outbursts for under $500. You can't get one.
Oh, it'd be 10,000 plus, and I wouldn't want to spend that much money because then again, going back to what I said earlier, then I immediately go to, is this a good investment? Yeah. And I don't want to collect that way. I don't want to think about it as an investment, but I can't help myself if it's that much money.
Mm-hmm. So while we're talking about this, like with the Kirby Pucketts and the Couturier, so that kind of we're talking about like the player collectors. Do you feel that that's one of the more common aspects, or is it just probably because the easiest one because it's so easy for people to get attached to players? Because you think about I'm sure. What would you say? 90% of the hobby says they're a Gretzky collector.
Well, I think that
in one way or another,
the 2 biggest buckets would probably be player collector and then hype chasers. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It probably sounds negative, but whoever that people get the thrill of, and it is exciting, right? When Series 1 comes out and there's Demidov, we're all going to be looking at the prices and holy moly, look what Ivan Demidov, Young Gun, the first Young Guns PSA 10 sold for. Yeah. Right. And it's infectious. It's fun. When there's new and hype, that I definitely see the appeal to it. It's just that in my mind, it's sort of fleeting. Right. Because like one of the things that we, if that's your bag, that I've learned, and it took me doing the show to learn, is that when you look at like all these guys come out, well, look at last year's class. You have Celebrini, Hudson, Michkov, Dustin, well, who else? Stankoven, right? I mean, all of them at this point are like, wow, these could be amazing players, right? And you have passionate people that, which is fun, argue for both. But the reality is, like, if you go back, and I encourage people to do this, go back 10 years and you'll have 1,000 Young Guns. There's probably like 7 to 10 top hobby guys. So we're lucky if you get one a year that really pans out in the, that justifies if you're going to buy the $1,000 Young Guns PSA 10 of a player because most of them, even, and it has nothing to do with them being great players, but this hobby is very fickle from a market standpoint, and the top end is very small.
Well, there's 130 produced a year, right? Out of Series 1, Series 2.
Yeah, now with 50, extended 50,
and extended 30. 30 in there, so it's 130 Young Guns a year. They're not all going to hit. You're lucky if you got 5 at most.
Think about it this way: in the last 20 years, going back 20 years now, you have Crosby, Ovechkin, McDavid, Austin Matthews, kind of Jack Hughes, but he keeps getting hurt all the time, so he like tips a toe into that pool and then gets injured and gets pulled out of the water again. That's the top end of the hobby.
Yeah, right. Look at post-COVID. Everybody was after Laffy, right? Alex Lafreniere.
Laffy, Stützle, our guy Kaprizov. And then it's Caulfield is had an amazing year last year, but he was injured the year before, and his values haven't sustained. It's just you have to understand that and it's the trap that everyone falls into, right? It's like we're so smitten by the new and shiny that, and again, between Mitchkoff and Celebrini and Hudson, they all could have Hall of Fame careers, but there's probably a better chance than not that, that they 10 years from now they're in the that kind of that middle class of sort of, I don't know, like I'm drawing blanks, but the
you got tiers,
Kucherov,
right?
yeah. I guess maybe Cale Makar would be the other one that you could argue is in the top tier, or even like Nathan McKinnon or John Tavares is a great example we use all the time of underappreciated, what you'll call players. So it's you just have to make, but again, if I just love the chase, I love the excitement, I love being part of the group that goes balls to the walls over the new rookies every 6 months. And yeah, I understand that hardly any will pan out in the way that the hobby thinks it. And again, I base that on, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, or you think I'm wrong, but if you're gonna, at this point, if you're gonna spend, well, the Lane Hudson mystery black Future Watch auto that sold last night at Slab Sharks for, what was it, 16,500 Canadian?
Yeah.
When you buy that card, like what are you? He has to become just as good as the only way for that. Like, if you want to look at the return on that money spent on the card, is you're basically saying he's going to be as good as Bobby Orr someday, right? Because I mean, you think about, like, how would that card be worth $25,000 5 years from now? What would have to happen?
I don't
know.
A
lot. Right?
Because in the next 5 years, we're going to have 20 other amazing defensemen. And we have Zeev coming to the Wild. Might be good.
Should get in on it. Don't be giving your hot tips now, Josh.
So part of me wonders, like, what, and I hope that the person who bought that card bought it because they just think it's amazing. It's a cool card, right? It's like black with the gold auto, and that again, if it goes to zero, they don't care, and that they didn't buy it thinking, I'm going to outfox the fox here.
Yeah.
That I'm going to get this, and I'm going to buy a cabin someday with the money I make on this card.
Yeah. But then it goes, I don't want to sound like I'm being a jerk to you. I know you're used to it, but
yeah. What stopped you at this point?
I know. Great that if that's his, I mean, we're still talking about player collectors, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're bouncing around on all of them because it's the way that people collect.
I don't.
We're talking about young guns too.
If you want that card that bad and want to spend 16 grand on it, good for you.
Sure.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Good. And I'm not going to say I'm not going to be like, oh, that was idiotic. Why did you do that?
I don't like those opinions either. Because we all like to tell each other what people should be doing.
Better hope he's going to be good for a while. Stuff like that. Who cares? If I would look at you funny if you were like, why would you buy that Roger or whatever? I wouldn't even have an answer for you. Why? Because I wanted it.
Yeah.
So,
you get that a lot, like with like people trying to tell you what the right way to get product is, right? I think the three of us primarily buy singles. I don't buy a lot of breaks, but I don't think breaks are bad.
Right.
It's just not for me. Right. And again, it's like, I see why people like them too. And, but I think like that there's too much of this sort of mentality out there to say, for something that I don't prefer, now I have to tell everyone why that's wrong or bad or evil or gambling or whatever word I want to associate to it, where it's like, and to your point, Louis, the problem when you're like in our boat here in the content boat is probably the right answer every time is do whatever you want. But how do you make a show where we just say do whatever you want 400 times? And you have to have some opinions on things, but
Right.
I think what I try to do is to regulate my opinions to, number one, just tell people that, hey, this is my opinion and it doesn't necessarily mean I'm right. Plus the idea that and try to check myself to not making some like bold declarative statements that if you if you love breaks and that's your enjoyment in the hobby and you're 100% comfortable with what you spend and you love what you get out of it and you love being part of the community and the rooms and because you do get to open boxes with other people, right? Like when we open boxes, unless we're together at the chateau having fun or something like that, it's more of a solitary experience. Some people like the community side of it, so I totally get why you would, and for other people to see when they get a hit, to share it with them or to complain when they're not, and again, I'm trying really hard to get to the point where I can have opinions, I can share opinions, but I don't try to tell people what is right or wrong or good or bad.
No, and I think our place though is, you can't just say do what you want, but just say Neil, for example. Neil wants to spend 10 grand on this card. Okay. Doesn't matter what it is. I feel do it. Bid on it right now, Neil. Get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Hang on. The card needs you.
I feel our place, Josh, is because we know all the sets. We see the trends. We look at it. We're boring. We like numbers like that. We like to see what's going on. I think our place where we could help is say, Neil, instead of putting 10 grand into that card, put it in same guy, but put it into this set.
Or maybe card. Not even that directly. Maybe I'm piggybacking off what you're saying here to say, here's some other options that you would have that you might want to consider.
I think that's where communities and your friends and that stuff is a huge help. I've done that with you guys and the others and Dave and Phil and Chandler and Carter and Justin. All of them, we've all bounced ideas off of each other. And I have my other friends that are in other sports. When I first got back into this,
you're not allowed other friends, so get rid of them immediately.
Get rid of them immediately. They actually helped prevent me. Like one of the cards, I just got laser focused when I first got back into on a die cut O-Pee-Chee Platinum insert, a die cut auto of Gretzky. And I was like, this thing is so affordable. It's so affordable. And they kind of talked me, but like, hey, why don't you take that money and put it into something else like this? And it wasn't like maybe it was their attempt, but jingling the cat toy at me, like, oh, now I'm over here. But it's helpful because it gives you another perspective. You're bouncing ideas off of people. You're not necessarily being the armchair collector, because people are allowed to have opinions. And I think sometimes a lot of people forget about that, but that's a different topic, bit different podcast. But you're not trying to be armchair collector. You're just trying to help discuss, right, and share the ideas and give that focus a little bit.
It's very well said.
And if I'm really into it, I'm able to say, hey, I love that idea. That's going to be my next thing after I buy this one, right? So right. I think that's having that your tribe is very important to help you with collecting in general.
I think another aspect too that my guess is more people, and you guys can tell me if you were similar, but whatever happened in COVID kind of gave a false premise that got a lot of people back into the hobby, right? Because it's like, well, why did COVID get everyone back? Well, there started to be article. Well, first of all, people were bored. You had free money from the government, disposable income. You couldn't leave the house. And you started to see articles about sports cards. Boom. And it's like, oh, I used to do that when I was a kid. I loved baseball cards. I loved hockey cards or whatever it was. And that kind of lottery fantasy sucked you back in, sucked me back in. Right. But then it's just not that easy, right? Yeah. It's nothing in life works that way, where it's like, oh, I'm going to go on eBay, buy a random card, and 2 months later, I'm going to sell it for 10 times what I paid for it. Look at me. how smart I am. It's like, well, you learn really fast that I bought the card and now I sold it for, geez, to even break even, I have to sell it for 20% more than I originally bought it to cover all the selling fees and costs, and then all the time and hassle. It's actually really hard to make money. Well, maybe for other people, it's not as hard, right? But and so it's like I had to go through the sort of like the reset of that false premise, and change my and then I think what happens, and probably not that people still don't get involved this way, is that at some point you decide it's like, well, oh geez, it's not a quick get rich quick scheme here.
Wait, it's not?
Yeah. Do I actually like this? Do I enjoy it? Is it something I want to pursue outside of the potential financial gain? And that's why I look at it too. Like, I would like to think my cards will be worth more money someday. And I would be lying if I didn't say that wasn't part of it. But it's not a requirement for me to enjoy this.
That's a great statement. That's a great statement. It's not a requirement. Yeah. You'd hope they do, but it's not a requirement.
Yeah, it's gravy.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. On the whole experience, right? It just makes it feel less guilty about, I think like a dad thing is to feel guilty about spending money on yourself a little bit too.
True. And it's the thrill of the chase. It's about something we love and we're passionate about as players. Like we were all probably grew up playing little league sports or, this sport, hockey, basketball, soccer, football, everything. And it's that attachment to the game. You can't go wrong with that. It's attachment to your players and your teams. So those are two different types of collectors: player collectors, team collectors. People go get their team. I mean, I still do that too on the side, just being a little, every base card, every Flyer base card I have is in a binder, and I've got 11 of them now. There's 11 full binders. They're all the old standard ones. They're all they're all bulging, and I have to keep buying a new one. So you got team collectors. But it's just that chase, that thrill, the chase, and the connection to the game is that I think that's what's at the core for all of us. I think.
Well, and what I appreciate about player collectors like you guys is, like, to me, at some point, I'm sure you realize that there's not ever going to be $100,000 Sean Couturier card.
Nope. There will
right.
not.
So it's very easy to prove, for the lack of a better term, to people that you're in this because you really enjoy the collecting experience and the hobby, and you're not out just to get rich, right? That there's a very good chance that it won't be a windfall financially for you.
No,
right.
Yeah, I still have some Gretzky's and Lindros.
Yeah, of course.
Guys, but I mean, that's just. But like my Lindros and Gretzky collection is like, up until maybe a year ago, I've been back in it for 3.5 years. But up until a year ago, I think I had maybe 1 or 2 Lindros autos. It wasn't until a few, like within the last half a year, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get more. I sent those 4 cards off to Frozen Pond, got some of them back. And so then that built up. But I mean, Gretzky, I still have 2 autos and 2 rookie cards. The rest is all like base and inserts that I love. Doesn't mean.
Well, you can compartmentalize how you collect.
Yeah.
You don't have to just collect one. You can have like 3 different little styles of collecting in various things you do. And like with like your in-person autos, like that's a way that you get to put your own stamp on a card, right? Because I know that you take great care in selecting the right cards, picking, you do all the testing of the markers that we make fun of you for all the time, but it's kind of awesome. And we make fun of you, but it's really cool how you do it.
And fun, but I'll get text from everybody.
I know, and then that card, when it's all said and done, right? I think some of the satisfaction you must feel is the fact that, well, this isn't just a random autographed Lindros card. It's a card that I actually thought through and planned and plotted out and selected how I want it, and it turned out like my vision.
Right. Yeah, that's part of it. That's part of it for that one. So yeah, we kind of talked about like people who do like the young gun collecting. So I want to kind of make sure we're like, because it's so vast. Like I said at the beginning with the notes that I was putting, I kept thinking to myself, like, there's got to be more. There's got to be more, and there are. It's it's so vast. I think that it's hard to think of some of the ways that, you know, you might not
We
think
could
of.
be here for a month.
Correct.
Neil. And I think like the advice you could give around all the different is just learn, like ask people and go on and, you know, try new stuff. Right. I mean, that's I've definitely done that where I've bought certain things and thinking, oh, I'm going to, you know, be an RPA guy. And it's like, I don't want to, you know, and sometimes the only way to learn that is by doing it.
Can I all this time, and I've never asked, and I don't know if you've ever said why, and you don't need a reason why, but why don't you like patch autos?
I think the ones I'd be most interested in are too much money.
Sure.
Like the ones that really move me are like the was it Leslie Snipes on Instagram? Wes Edwards, I believe his name is, has like the Gordie Howe limited logos where it's like Gordie's jersey from. It's like, to appreciate jerseys to me, like I love most the ones where they look used, right? Like that's why I'm almost more interested in like goalie relic cards that have like puck marks on pads. Or why I like that my second string wallet so much is that it just feels like it was like part of the game.
Sure.
And then I think a reality, Louis, is that because I like to collect the best players, or who I think are the best players, and that's a pretty spendy pool to swim in.
Okay, then how about? I'm sorry, Neil, your show. I don't want to make this about
what
Josh
fine,
likes to collect, but how about like the statures and some of the other cards that actually have like leather pieces of gloves or something in it?
Yeah, I like those more.
Okay.
They're actually kind of rare, it seems like, finding different cards or inserts that have a non-jersey piece of like memorabilia. So you've got the gloves are kind of like, because a lot of them are the palm of the glove, right? It's getting that colorful part or that, you know, antique brown Cooper leather that we all watched in the 80s and 70s. Those are actually extremely rare, it feels to me. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel that those are very rare anymore.
Yeah, those feel old. Like that's why I appreciate them. But I think, Louis, to your point though, is it's not that I don't like some of these cards. It's just like I don't want to collect it all and have like some random sort of collection. And I just really like you mentioned like the Metal Universe, the liquid gold insert. That card gets me like super jazzed. And so it's more just, you know, I think it's another thing as human beings we do a lot is that it's like our minds go to like all or nothing, right? It's like, well, I can really appreciate like a Gordie Howe stature patch auto where it's got like the old Cooper Brown, like cracked leather glove but also not collect it. Because actually, I think, you know, not to bring back, but Phil's actually very good at that. He's really good at being like, that's awesome, not for me.
Yeah.
All the time.
Well,
yeah, try to sell him any Kachuk card he hit. You know,
now he's good at saying that's awesome, not for me. He's been trained. Usually it was that's stupid.
No, I don't like that. It's dumb.
I don't like that. Well, then it's funny though too. It's that, you know, you get that he's got that mentality too, where you want all of the something, right? You know, that's another way some people collect. They want to try to get
all of them,
all of the whatevers. I mean, we were joking around about.
I don't have that bone in me, right?
I don't either. I don't. But there are some that want to get them all. Yeah, that's I think that's harder to do than just getting one of something. Of course, which kind of takes me to this past week when I talked about earlier the nameplate. Louis, earlier this week you talked about one. I forget if it was Monday or Thursday show, not important, but you said like, I'm not buying one of the nameplates because if I buy the one, it's gonna send me on my way to go after the rest of them. And that's the same way it was with me with this nameplate I'm completing. I did buy one, and I was content with the one, and it was in the middle of the pack letter.
Until that
And it
changed?
wasn't until somebody offered me 2.
Oh, so it's 2 that's
and it was really cheap. It was really cheap. They offered me 2, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, well, here I go. So
that's why I'm not. That's why I'm not even dabbling. There was one out there.
Yep.
And I just said no because I know that I couldn't leave it alone.
But I love the chase of it right now, and the spoiler alert: I might be on the path to completing it after Expo. We'll see.
Wow.
We'll see
Cool.
how it goes, but yeah, it's that chase that happens with all these things, with anything that we're collecting, any of these different PCs. So that's kind of like a side person. It fits into my main PC, but it is a veering off, if you will. Like I right now it's getting hard for me to avoid Mitchkoff as a Flyers fan, but I know that I'm not going to go ham on him with cards because it's not sustainable, it's not affordable. But I still go and get many of his cards. I'm more of a base card insert guy with him. All right, so one of the other ones that I thought of recently too, and I added it to my list that I learned, I didn't even know it was a thing, Josh. It was, you talked about it based off of feedback from hockeychecklists.com, where people asked for a sorting feature based on players' nationality. Like, that's another way that people collect, as far as, which was a new novel concept to me, based off of players' nationalities. Especially, it seems like maybe that was from like Sweden, Finland, those types of environments.
Yeah, I think so. Like if you live in Europe, and it makes sense, right? You don't have necessarily an NHL team, but you have players in your country that are starring in the NHL, all over the NHL, and so as where they don't have the local team pride, they have the national pride that comes along with that, and want to do that. There's and like, you could do Hall of Fame players, you can do 500 goal scorers, you could do the top assist players. I mean, like I said, there's an infinite amount of ways to do it, which is part of what makes the hobby so awesome.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame one is I wonder if didn't Troy say he was doing it once you started doing these spotlights to get to know your Hall of Fame?
I think he intended to, or that was why. I'm not sure how far he's progressed in that.
But it certainly piqued my interest. I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. Get one card from every Hall of Famer. That's kind of that's another way you can kind of veer off and get that. But
that would make a really cool like binder or something like that if you could flip through all. Tell the history of hockey almost.
I should try. I should do like all the Irish-born ones. I might have like one card. It'd be an easy PC to get.
Who's the most famous Irish hockey player?
I don't even know. I was just thinking of it. I was like, I mean, I'm American. I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody like Irish Flyers. Like, I'm American, but I'm just proud of my roots.
Yeah, I gotcha. That makes sense.
So yeah, there's also there's the autographs. That's pretty easy and common to think about. Memorabilia, the just for fun one we've talked about. Those are kind of a cool way to do it. With what's the joke? We talk about getting ones with mustaches, or the silly looking poses, or the bad photographs. That's another one. Trying to think of others. The one that I just did, and I'm going to share it at the end with my PC Spotlight, is when I went and got one card from every member of the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team. It was just a fun little side aspect to go get those. I love the movie Miracle. I love the concept. I mean, in 1980, I was 6, so I had no recollection of it. But you can. It's limitless, right? You can create a PC any way you want to. But those are just some of the big topics that we've thought about, or make it your own. I think that's the core message behind it. You can create a PC of whatever, making it your own.
Yeah, I think that, and the fact that you're not competing with anyone. So the only standard that you should measure to is the standard you set for yourself, and whatever your ultimate goal in collecting is.
Yeah,
Neil seems to be following that trend, collecting what nobody else is.
Thanks, Louie.
Sorry.
Neil's out to prove that it's not about collecting good cards or valuable cards or even anyone likes. It's about collecting what you love. and through his efforts, nobody can argue that.
No.
I'll have to start a Larry Goodenough PC. He's a player. I'll get him. My collection is good enough.
Isn't that the big thing here for the last hour? I mean, everything we've said comes back to, I mean, there's a bunch of ways to collect, but just do it the way you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, you can kind of you can zig when everybody's zagging. You can pick up players. You can do, like I said, there's I think we hit almost everything that I can think of. I mean, Josh, you just rattled off a bunch there that I was like, oh, that's a good one too.
I mean, don't think either. I haven't kind of still done this. There's different cards that I've bought that aren't in my lane. I've taken the off ramp and come back on, but they're cool cards that I like, that I'd like to have,
yeah.
Or being cool with evolving, right? I think a sign of health is that 2 years from now, the way I collect is way different than it is today, just like it is than it was 2 years before, right?
Yeah.
And that's the probably more likely to still be in the hobby if you allow yourself to evolve. And because again, there's so many we even talked about like vintage versus modern versus I mean, again, there's a million different ways you can do it.
Yeah, hobby health and hobby maturity, I think too. Having them have it just that, and confidence, right? You do what you want to do, collect what you want to do, and it's getting the knowledge of. I mean, I'm even looking at what's next for me. Obviously, I know my guy Coots is, he's in the twilight. He's coming down, but I'm looking to the future. The next one. When's the next player that I want? The flyer. Sure, it could be Michkov, like I was saying earlier, but Jetlachenko, Porter Martone. Younger guys, because you want to keep it within your scope of what you're comfortable with, your threshold of risk or affordability. They might not be as big as Michkov, and he might stay up high, and I hope he does. But I'll play in the kiddie pool, and then maybe go for the bigger cards of these other players. So, it's you make it what it is yourself, and that's one of the great things about it. So,
well, don't you really learn that you truly appreciate a player when he's no longer the hot new rookie?
Yeah,
right, because it's easy. I would assume as a Flyers fan, it's very tempting to get swept up in the whole Michkov mania. You guys haven't had a prospect like him in a long time.
So hard.
And it doesn't mean that he's not going to be great, but there's a chance he is a bust too.
True. Yeah,
nobody wants that, but
no.
And so if you're dropping $3-4 grand on a card right now, there's no sure things.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, right now with SPA out, I'm like chomping at the bit for a Future Watch Auto, but I'm like, you know what? They are going to be, there's 1,000 of them. They're going to be available every day, all day on eBay in 3 years, whether it's 3 days, 3 hours, or 3 years or 4. I can wait.
Yes, you could buy one every hour of every day for the rest of your life.
Yep. Yeah. So have that confidence and patience. So I think we did a good job, gentlemen. I don't want to. I don't think there's plenty of stones that are left unturned, but that's the great thing about it. But I think we uncovered almost all that we could think of, all that I can think of for sure. So, do you guys have any closing comments on the topic itself or ideas to share before we move over to the PC spotlight?
No,
I think we did it.
I think we did it. We did a good job. So, and because we said it, because we said we did it. So there we go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's shift over to get into the home stretch here and do this PC spotlight segment. So again, I hope you guys have something. This isn't something that might be new, or maybe it is new, but just something from your PC that you would like to share. And since I'm the handsomest host here today, I will say, Louis. Louis, well, we'll let you go first. Do you have something for PC to share?
Well, what do you want to see? I know you were asking. I pulled out a few things.
Anything you want.
Nothing under your clothes, so don't go there.
Okay. Well,
anything you like.
There's a lot I like, Neil. Come on now.
No, and anything you want to share.
No, nothing new. Neil, dang you. No, I just
show me something, Nico.
Something Nico.
The inner turmoil happening in your head right now is very
well. Okay,
No.
so
I was stop.
I was pulling out my favorites of
Okay.
the
Let's
three
do
guys
something.
because I didn't
right.
know exactly what you wanted, but I would
Fine.
have to say right now. Speaking of, we're talking about the future watch, the flops or whatever, that you're chomping at the bit. I still don't have one from Heischer. I haven't gone. I want one, but I haven't pulled the trigger yet. But I would say these two are probably my favorite. That's the
Cool.
second year gold patch auto cup out of 8, and then the just fell into my lap Heischer Young Guns acetate.
That's beautiful.
Now,
Beautiful.
Probably my next favorite. This card will never leave my sight.
Oh, wow.
Bowman Chrome Gold out of 50 refractor.
Wow.
Looks way better even in person, which looks great now.
Yeah, that looks really good, but yeah.
But there's one more I didn't grab, and I wish I would have, but it's another Madonna. I don't remember what year it is. It's out of 100, but it's the silver stamp of approval.
Okay.
It looks like the whole card looks like a big stamp.
What's the Donruss one?
Yeah.
I think so.
I love it.
Yeah, Donruss was into that one year. They did a whole bunch of inserts that were all stamps. They had the first priority and first class and all that fun stuff. So
yeah, and I just stumbled on that one in a random. I mean, it was at the expo, so obviously they're all hockey, but it was just in a stack of cards. I was killing time. It was late Saturday, I think.
Yeah,
I don't think it was on Sunday, but I think another buddy was at a table a couple down, and I was just moving down and killing time, and I just said, "Can I see what's in that stack?"
Yeah.
And it was like 5 cards down. I'm like, yeah, I want that. And it's crazy what you find, and it's crazy what your favorite cards might be, even though they're not your most expensive card.
Yeah, that's what this is all about. It's about what floats your boat today, like whatever, So, Josh, what do you got, bud?
I picked out one card that I think about a lot, and it's not like the craziest card I own, but
it's my 101.
Really, really like it. No.
Oh,
so it's a 2018 Platinum Ovechkin Retro Houndstooth.
Yeah.
It was like $200.
Yeah.
Now these are out of 25 this year, where they're normally out of 15. So that's a tiny bit of a bummer. What I think I like about this card is I like cards that have a retro feel. I like the kind of the I'm not a huge horizontal guy, but I think this design works. And you can see it on the screen right now. But my favorite part about it is it's essentially a black and white card until you see the rainbow foiling behind him.
Yep, you're doing a good job
there. And I think that adds just so much of like a cool element to it. It's like you hit the card in the right light, and it's like the whole card changes.
Yeah. Yeah, because you hold it one way, it just looks black and white. That's one. I think that's an underrated card in O-Pee-Chee Platinum is the Houndstooth ones, because I didn't even realize, or I've seen them, but when I did that dive in the last episode, that those exist only in the retros. It's an underappreciated design, I think, the Houndstooth, because you don't hear about it much.
They're just a little spendy. It's hard to get people off. What I found in like buying them that kind of stinks is that, well, it's hard to find people that are willing to sell them for a realistic. It's like if you have a good player that everyone wants like $800 for one. It's like, well, it's worth $200. And I'm being, and like my philosophy too, if I want a card, I will always pay over comps for it. Like, because that's a card I want. So if it's a $200 card, I'll maybe pay $225 just to demonstrate. Listen, I'm not trying to like rip you off here, but come on.
You're not trying to get it below comps just for the sake of getting it.
But I'm not going to be dumb and spend $600 for a $200 card either. So it's like, whatever, then to your point earlier, you let it go. And I guess lucky for me, I like tons of cards. So I'll find something else I like.
You'll find it later. Well, mine, I'm going to share mine, but I talked about it earlier, the 80 Olympic team. I won't go through them all. This is my only top loader binder.
Yeah, you're a top loader binder hater.
Not a hater. It's just not my jam.
Okay.
I'm more of a we talked about it in the chat last
Phil's
night.
all in. Phil's all in. I think Louis and I
the,
like him. We're not as I don't think we're getting tattoos anytime soon. But
no, he'll get one, but he'll get a tattoo.
wow.
I'm a CIAB guy. I'm a card in a box kind of guy.
Oh,
But mine is just so it's just the U.S. Olympic hockey team. You know,
nice.
cards of all the players.
I really love the 80. Is it the 80s or the 81s that have the
81.
the badging on it?
Yeah, it's that one. So, and they're all in alphabetical order. And some of the players never made the NHL, so I had to find some of these cards. But I got everybody except for Buzz Schneider. So he's right here. And I just think it was a really fun little PC.
Do you have the Team USA Neil Broughton one?
Not the well, it was his rookie one here. Or whatever. I think it's his rookie maybe here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Josh, is that the one you didn't end up getting in the mail? That was the refractor.
That was a refractor, and the guy was cool. I ordered the reprint, the Topps Chrome reprint refractor on that. I should go back and try to find that. And it just never came. And the guy was very cool. It was like a $15 card, so it wasn't. But he refunded me my money instantly. But I really that's such a bummer that the card never came.
Yeah, and this was fun. I didn't have any of these before the 4th of July, and here's Herb Brooks and Craig Patrick. It was just I had the idea while I was watching the movie Miracle on the night of 4th of July, and I just kind of was like, you know what, I'm going to do that. I'm a card collector. I love the movie. Why don't I have any? So,
are you going to be really into the Olympics this winter?
I'll enjoy them. I mean, I'm not going to be crazy gung ho, but you know, I'm looking forward to it. It's just like
I'm excited about it.
I'll get as much amped up about it as I did after Four Nations started, and it just I think that kind of wet the whistle. You know, the appetite was awakened for the Olympics with that Four Nations. I think that exceeded all of our expectations. So, well, cool. Well, thank you guys so very much, Josh and Louie. I appreciate the crossover and joining me for an episode. I think it was a great discussion. I think that we kind of, like I said, covered everything we could on this. So, yeah. Any closing comments for you guys before we take it to the home stretch here?
No, love you, Neil.
Thank you, love you guys.
No, just be you, collect you. Yeah, that's all you got to do, guys.
Cool.
No, I really appreciate you doing this show for our little community and growing community. I think it offers a lot of value, and it provides us the opportunity through you to go in more depth about. We try to cover so much on the podcast that we don't really get the chance to linger on stuff. And, you know, and some conversations merit a little bit of a little more time.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's been fun for me. I've been enjoying it. I just hope the community gets enough out of it, and we're going to keep going and diving into stuff. So, you know, these last 2 episodes have come from people's ideas and comments or questions, or even just their ramblings. So, you know, I like to encourage everybody on Discord, if you have an idea, a question or comment or experience, anything about a topic or anything, please feel free to share. I'd like to take that. I comb over mailbag and no dumb questions to kind of look for content for, you know, something I can, you know, sink my teeth into and kind of go into more in depth. So that's kind of the premise for this show. So cool. Well, in heading here to the finish line, you know, just want to remind everybody you can catch new episodes here on Discord. Just look for the Clover emoji in the Behind the Bench channel. Obviously, you found it here. New episodes drop every Tuesday. So remember, follow me on Instagram at Irish Flyers Collector. You know these guys. You can follow them on their socials. Louie Collects, and Josh obviously is handling the Hockey Cards Gongshow channel. So thank you again for all of you viewing, watching, and taking time out of your day to watch. I genuinely appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, he's Louie. He's Josh. I'm Neil, Irish Flyers Collector, and you've been Behind the Bench. Louie, want to take us out?
Bye.